everyone. This is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Introduction to Microeconomics at Ozarka College. Today what I'm going to do is give you a little feedback on the chapters 15 and 16 activities that I finished grading yesterday. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about our last set of chapter activities, which will be for chapter 17 and 18. And then I'll also mention the final exam as well. Okay? All right. So first thing is, like I said, I did finish grading the chapters 15 and 16 activities yesterday. I believe they were due over the weekend. And so I finished grading what I hadn't already graded the week before. I finished grading yesterday morning. And so hopefully you've already gone in and looked at your grades for those activities and read the grading comments. If you haven't done that, go ahead and do that as soon as you can and let me know if you have any questions. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. Most of you did well on the chapters 15 and 16 assignment and discussion. And like I always tell you, I really appreciate those of you that are putting the time and effort in to completing the work for this class. So keep up the good work on that. Now, I did notice there were a few of you who didn't answer some of the assignment questions thoroughly and completely. Just remember, make sure that you're fully answering each part of each question. And also, there were a couple of you that seem like you're not really using the assigned resources as much as you should be to answer the assignment questions. You're relying on external sources instead of relying on the assigned resources. And that's something that I'm really looking at closely right now, because I want to make sure that you're actually reading through the chapters in the textbook that are assigned and watching the assigned videos, and also using the PowerPoint slides to help you to understand the concepts. If we're just, searching online for the answers to the questions, then you're really not learning the material. You're not actually using the resources that I provide. And so that's something I'm really going to look at. Make sure that your answers are consistent with the information that's provided in the assigned resources. All right? And most of you are doing that. Most of you are fine, but there are a few of you, I think, that are trying to find shortcuts, and then you're getting points counted off for that because your answers are not consistent with the information provided in the resources. Okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. The discussion that we had for chapters 15 and 16 that dealt with farm subsidies, I thought that went very well. Most of you provided some really good information on that. Really appreciate everyone's participation on the discussion, and I really enjoyed it. So keep up the good work on the discussions as well. The chapters 15 and 16 test, some of you did well on that, some of you didn't do so well. Just as a reminder, I know I always remind you of this, but I'll go ahead and do it again. You can take those tests as many times you want to up until the due date, and your highest grade is automatically recorded. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so that brings us to what we've got coming up due next. So if we go to the activities page in my Ozarka, right now we are on kind of the middle portion of week 14 of the semester, and we don't have anything else. We don't have anything due this week because we had work due the last day of last week, which was Saturday. So we don't have anything due this week, but we do have work due the middle of next week. So you should be working on the chapter 17 and 18 activities, which are due by Wednesday, April 30th, which is next Wednesday of next week. So you've got just a little over a week to be working on those activities, but don't wait until the middle of next week to get started. Go ahead and get started on them now and give yourself plenty of time. Okay? Chapter 17, by the way, covers externalities and the environment. We've talked about externalities in previous chapters just very briefly, but in this particular chapter, chapter 17, you're going to go in and talk a lot more in detail about externalities, how those externalities, both positive and negative, affect various markets. And you're also going to look at the environment, how that affects markets as well. And then in chapter 18, you're going to learn about poverty and income redistribution. All right? And government uses various tactics to redistribute income. And some of that's through taxation, some of that's through other government programs and so forth. And so you'll learn about all of that. You'll learn about how the United States kind of compares with other countries in things like standard of living and education and so forth. So it's a very interesting chapter. Hopefully you'll find it interesting and fun as well. It is, like I said, I think you'll find it interesting. And so be working on chapter 17 and 18. Like I said, that's the last set of chapter activities for the semester. So we are just very, very close to being through with this semester. All right, so just keep working hard and get those activities completed. Like I said, let me know if you have any questions as you're working on them. And then the only other thing that we'll have after this last set of chapter activities is, of course, the final exam. And the final exam will cover all the chapters that we've looked at this semester, which are chapters 1 through 18. And I've sent you some information about the final exam through email. Actually, I haven't done that yet on this class. I will do that later this week. So be looking for the some additional information about the final exam, some very specifics as far as how many questions, how much they're worth, what to do to study, all of that. Be looking for that later this week. I will probably send that out probably Thursday or Friday of this week. So be looking for that. But mostly, you just need to go back and study the concepts covered on the previous exams, your chapter test, and also your midterm exam, and all that should be open for review. If it's not, let me know as soon as possible, and I will fix that. But I believe I've got all those open for review. Other than the one that you're working on now for chapter 17 and 18, it will be available for review after that set of activities closes. Okay? So that's really all I have for you for today. So be looking for that email later on this week about the final exam. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you.